Eddie, how you doing, buddy? It's Michael Waddell.
Hey, how's it going, Michael?
Going good, man. Sorry I missed you earlier today.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I guess let's start off. You said that some of your hunting icons or heroes, whatever you want to call them, are Chuck Adams, Fred Bear, and Ted Nugent. Is there anybody that is more modern or up and coming that you're really liking what they're doing and their message and their following?
You know, it's funny. I don't want to sound like an old codger, but not really. Probably one of my favorite hunters right now of modern era would probably be Kip Campbell. With Red Arrow, I really like Kip's approach. His number one goal is to have fun and to just laugh and cut up, and takes a little bit more of for lack of better words, just a fun approach to it versus a competitive nature to it or an elitist approach. He just is more about enjoying the hunt. And so probably Kip is a hunter that I really enjoy right now a lot. I also respect the Heartland bow hunter guys a lot because they didn't try to really mimic anything. They kind of come up with their own style that's very cinematic. So they never tried to look at what was successful and try to copy it. They kind of created their own little vibe. And so I really respect those guys a lot as well. And I also like the vibe kind of some of the raised hunting, the way they go about kind of depicting the hunt and, family and stuff like that. And then another guy that I really like, so I guess I do have more than I realize, but another guy that I really, really think is one of the most probably underrated personalities and the funniest dude you'll ever meet with that is truly legit is Fred Eichler. I just love Fred Eichler. He's just a tough, really good hunter. He's easy to be around. He don't have an ego. He's almost like hunting with a 12, 13-year-old kid because he's always cutting up. So Fred's definitely one of my favorite people as well.
Very cool. Cool. And so, everybody's seen your Facebook Live videos. Social media has really given you a platform to talk about politics or anything else. Do you ever get any pressure, I guess, from sponsors or people in the industry, or maybe pressure isn't the right word, but maybe like feedback or sort of advice to keep your opinions to yourself, or is that something that everybody's been really supportive of?
I've been blessed to where I really haven't. I think that after some of that was done, I look back and thought about sometimes, wow, I wonder how that would apply to some of my partners and if their, ideas kind of match mine. But then I thought, well, part of my responsibility as a personality is to be me and to basically not ride the fence. And I'm a strong advocate of people being themselves, and not being a chameleon and kind of dancing around issues. I think you can't straddle the fence in some areas. You kind of got to be, basically stern in what your beliefs are, and also transparent enough to help people understand where you've also made mistakes. So I've never been a personality that has been hidden or two-faced, for lack of better words. I've always been pretty blunt about how I feel. And that's easy to be defined as opinionated, but it's not that I'm really opinionated. It's just that everybody has their opinion. Just some of us decide not to basically be transparent enough for you to know ours. And I don't think everybody's opinion, my opinion, has to be what everybody else thinks has to happen. It just happens to be my view and my outlook on it. And so far, thus far in my career, I haven't really had any pushback on how I kind of give my thoughts or my, thought process on how I think something fits into, my thought process, the way I was born and raised, and also as well as even some of my mistakes that I've made in my career or personal life. So I've just always tried to be very upfront and say, this is how I feel. And also the things I have done, I say I'll own them. And if I make a mistake, I'll own that mistake. And so that's just kind of how I've always been. And so far I haven't really had any problems with the partners being offended or being detrimental to their business.
Yeah, man, that's a great thing too, and I think the reason it works for you is you're just being authentic. So it's what people wanna see, wanna hear. There's not a lot of it out there, so it's kind of refreshing.
Well, and I try my best. I don't want. I'm real careful, or I try to be. I don't want to be like one of these guys. Like, well, I'm gonna tell you this is the way it should be done. This is this. It ain't done. It's like no. First of all, different strokes for different folks. Everybody likes what they like. Everybody has their views on politics for the reasons that they have them. However, I also have mine. So all I'm trying to say is don't worry about it. I'll tell you exactly how I feel, but just because you don't feel that way doesn't mean I hate you. And just because you feel a different way than I do and maybe live your life different doesn't mean I hate you. We can still be friends. But I think part of the problem in America, there's too much chameleon and two-faced, and then people walk off, and then they're like, that's bull crap. I was like, well, why didn't you just tell them your opinion on it instead of riding the fence? And I think the hunting industry sometimes is very bad about we don't force our opinion because not force it, but you don't give your opinion. And what you'll find is as a community, most of us feel the same, whether we're north, south, east, or west. And so we don't voice it because we're afraid of just owning our opinion. And it's just a form of insecurity, in my opinion. So I'm real careful to say that I don't like to be opinionated. However, I will let you know my opinion, but I'm not going to force my opinion down your throat because that's the beauty of America. You don't have to do what I do.
Yep, that's very, very true. Yeah, you're not preaching or telling people what they should or shouldn't do. So it's a good message.
Right. If you ask me, if you had $60,000 to buy, to spend, would you buy a Camaro or a Ford? Well, I might say I would rather have that Camaro. It doesn't mean that the people who bought a Mustang are idiots. It just means that personally, I just wanted a Camaro. But so I think it's more of that terms that I try to give my opinion on stuff.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question now. So what would you say there's a young boy or girl who really wants to get into hunting and shooting? What advice, or I guess what's the one or two pieces of advice you'd give them to really be able to get into the industry, not just to be a better hunter, but to move into the actual hunting or fishing industry?
The best way I can tell a young man, or even any person who wants to get involved in the industry, is work hard, be willing to do anything, to have confidence, not arrogance, and to be humble, and to go in there and to start making your mark in something that you can be good at and you can be an asset to a company. So get in and be involved in a company to where you can help move that needle first. And then if you got good people around you, they'll help identify what you're better at and what you're really good at. The number one way I would say is let your work ethic and your attitude define who you are. And if that is really solid and sound and good, you got a chance to establish be part of anything in the industry that you want to do. However, if you just walk into it saying I'm going to be a hunting personality and I'm going to walk in this thing and host my own TV show and be the next Mark Drury, I think you're in a way tougher situation to be successful. But I think if you go in there, be willing to work and do anything, and to keep a good solid attitude and stay humble, I think that's the best approach. And then let those people discover what you're good and what you're legit at. And that's what I'm sorry, I'm picking up my kids, Eddie. That's the biggest thing I've learned.
Okay, yeah. So do you think that it's actually harder or easier today? I mean, there's obviously social media has changed wildly since you got started in the industry, but it also adds a lot more noise. There's a lot of other people out there trying to do the same thing. So do you think it's harder or easier today than when you started?
I think, to be honest with you, as far as to make a huge marked difference, I think it's harder. To be involved and to find a job or a place in the hunting industry, I think it's easier. But I think so many times because people completely selfishly know what they think they want to do, and they're so determined and feel, kind of owed to that, I think, hey, baby, there you go. Come on in. So, thank you, ma'am. I think in one way it becomes harder to achieve what somebody wants to achieve because I think right now the way society is, everybody wants what they want right now. So in other words, if they want to be the host or have their own TV show, it's easy, so to speak, to see the potential of having that through social media, through being able to video your hunt. And where back in the day, shooting it on high 8 or VHS, you didn't have a way to to really get that footage out there because it was sitting on your shelf, and you had to go show the people in the sporting goods store that had a player. Where now you can immediately let that be seen on social media, but it still don't make as big a mark. And I think people want it right now, so they don't want to work and put themselves in a company and invest 10 or 15 years to build their way up to being a personality or maybe even a producer. They want to start and have the success that maybe a Tiffany Lukoski has right now. And I think it's harder when you think of it that way because everything is happens so quick in some areas. But I think in the hunting industry, everybody wants what they want right now. So I think if people really thought about it and brought a little old school thought to it based on the amount of companies we have out there, the amount of networks we have, the amount of digital assets we have right now, if you will get yourself involved in a company that already has success and establish a good work ethic and not be afraid to be behind the scenes and do whatever it takes from clean commodes to run a camera or even be the one who kills a turkey if that's what somebody needs, I think the opportunity is better now than it's ever been. I think people want to immediately hit the grand slam and they're terrified and just don't have the perseverance sometimes to try to hit singles or even, walk it from time to time. They just want to walk up to the plate and hit it out the park and be done. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the impatient nature that we've gotten into with society. And again, that's just my opinion. So I think in one way it's harder because of attitude, but I think based on what's out there, it can be easier if you just attach yourself with the right people and have patience and work hard. I think you can get anywhere you want to if you have the skill.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, so I guess moving on from the same topic. You've been in the industry for a long time. What major changes do you see in place in the industry right now, and what do you think some big near and long term changes in the industry are going to be?
Well, one is I definitely have seen television sponsorships harder to obtain. I think we're at a point right now to where the cream is rising to the top, both in network television as we know it, as well as digital viewing. And overall in the hunting industry, I see the biggest change, and I think this is necessary just for the survival and the continuation of success in the industry. I think we have got to bring fun back into hunting at a level like we've never seen it, bring family, bring nostalgia, bring sentimental vibe, bring that feeling of a good country breakfast cooking at the end of a hunt. And I think we got to get away from more of the elitist type of vibe, and I think it's got to be brought back down to earth, and we got to dig back into the roots of hunting. And I think that is going to happen. I think inevitably it will rise to the top, and I think what will happen is going to take the personalities and the companies that are in this space out of sincerity, out of passion and love, and not just for financial gain, to take it to the top. And so therefore what will happen is anybody that's in it that's not legit, that's in it just for money, or that's just in it just because they want to sign a hat at a hunting show and they don't have the credentials and maybe they passionately don't enjoy the space as much as what they try to act or put on, I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for any posers in the future, because I think it will be exposed through every aspect of where our networks are. And I think the audience is more educated now, better than ever. Another hunter and somebody in the endemic can't. The biggest thing I see, I think that some of the fat has to be trimmed out, and I think we're going to go back to those who have the most passion that are in it for the true promotion of our space, and that truly legitimately love it and understand it. And I think that that's the change we're going to see, meaning if you're in it just because you couldn't make it anywhere else, and so let me give this hunting thing a try, I don't think it's going to be an industry for you. I don't think there's going to be enough proceeds. I don't think there's enough sponsorship dollars for that. And so I think it's the ones that truly passionately love it, both companies and individuals and personalities. I think that's what's going to be the change. And I do think there's more accountability out there with views and clicks and with the society as we know it being able to be measured quickly. I mean, it's pretty simple. When something is produced and something is seen, you'll be able to know it by the clicks, by the views, by the impressions, by the ratings. And so I think it's going to be like everything else. And the reason that a lot of the Hillary voters couldn't believe that she understood, well, the media was preaching one thing, but guess what? The votes went another way, and everything in society is being able to more dictate what they want to see. So if it's certain programming that they want to see, you're going to see it by the amount of views. You're going to see it by the amount of clicks. You're going to see it by the amount of likes. And so there's going to be less self-proclaimed professionals, and the people themselves will declare their favorites, and they will declare who is legit in that space. I think that's changing right now.
Yeah, it's definitely democratizing a little bit here.
Exactly. Where before nobody had that. I mean, they would just self-proclaim it, and that'd be the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no way to measure it. Now it can be measured.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so here's one last kind of fun question. What hunt are you most excited for the rest of the year, or even like something you have planned way out?
For me, it's definitely, I drew a Unit 7 Arizona archery tag. I love to hunt elk. I think it's one of the coolest things to hunt. It's just a 700-pound turkey. And so for me, I'm just stoked. It'll be public ground, so it'll have its challenges. But if most people know anything about elk hunting in Arizona, knows that there's some big ones there. So it has all the elements of fun, excitement, and, definitely challenge. So I'm excited about that hunt.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a blast, and that sounds like an absolute dream hunt for me too. So cool.
Love it, man. Can't wait.